back. Residents of California are facing extreme drought conditions. The impact of all of this could affect your wallet. Consumers this year are expected to pay about 3% more for fruits and vegetables. Not everything in the supermarket is likely to get more expensive. A few specific water-sucking crops grown in California, like almonds, avocados, and artichokes, will be especially affected. Earlier this week, Governor Jerry Brown of California took historic steps to conserve as the drought keeps getting worse. For the first time ever, the governor implemented statewide water restrictions. NBC's Miguel Almaguer has more.
In the snow-depleted Sierra Mountains, where California gets 30% of its water, the governor used a snowpack measuring station that should be buried under 5 feet of snow to do what no other California governor has ever done.
We're in an historic drought, and that demands unprecedented action. For that reason, I'm issuing an executive order mandating substantial water reduction across our state.
The order for all Californians to cut water use by 25% could lead to bigger fines for water wasters, like this Long Beach McDonald's billed $800 for using excess water. The city is even installing new water meters to monitor consumption.
Look, if people don't step up and do their part, California is in a lot of trouble.
NASA scientists say we're moving towards the driest period in the last 1,000 years. This morning, this is why California is in a state of emergency. I'm at the bottom of Lake Piru. I should be 30 feet underwater. And the rainy season here is all but over. Reservoirs across the state are running on empty, and the hottest, driest months are still ahead.
Joining us tonight, Dr. Reese Halter, who's a conservation biologist at the Muse School. Also with us tonight, Brian Stranko, who's the director of Our Water Program at the Nature Conservancy. Mr. Stranko, you first tonight. Your thoughts on 25% reduction when it comes to usage. Is this going to work? Is this enough?
Well, first of all, we should look at Governor Jerry Brown's leadership throughout this crisis. He's really helped us step up in a lot of ways. We now have a California Water Action Plan as of last year. We have a $7.5 billion water bond, and we have groundwater reform legislation that passed for the first time in our history. So this won't solve all our problems, this executive order, but it is definitely a start to getting a handle on the crisis. We're going to reduce water use in a mandatory way, and the water that we don't use can thereby go to farms, fields, cities, and to nature.
Yeah. Dr. Halter, experts are saying that the drought is on track to cause an economic loss for California that they've never seen before, in the neighborhood of $3 billion just in 2015 alone. What's going to reverse this? I mean, this isn't just going to be fixed by a hell of a rainfall. What's the future here?
Well, Ed, good evening. The future is we better prepare for a lot more dryness. The models from NASA and Cornell are showing 10, 20, 30, 40-year cycles of drought. What I'm looking at and what people have to be very aware of are tens of millions of dead trees. We've had, the last 3 winters have been so warm, Ed, that instead of the cold temperatures in the mountains happening, they haven't. The beetles, the native bark beetles, have been breeding. The outbreaks have turned into infestations, and now they're at an epidemic level. In 2013, we lost 350,000 acres of beautiful forests. Last year, 820,000 acres. And if I got my mark right, it'll double again this year. When the trees go, not only do all other life forms, but that's kindling for mega fires.
Yeah. Mr. Stranko, what's going to happen to the agricultural community? You're talking about products. You're talking about a major industry in California, no doubt about it. I mean, when you're looking at 80% of the global supply of almonds, and of course, almonds need an awful lot of water to grow, what are these farmers going to do? What's going to happen here?
Well, we also should recognize we produce 50% of the fruits and vegetables for the United States. We are a really important producer for the world. So this crisis is partly about feeding the world while also doing better with our water. Yeah, farms will suffer. We're going to fallow fields. People will lose jobs. But on the other hand, we also are going to see some really negative impacts beyond the trees for nature. We have river flows in many parts of our state that are at the lowest flows on record. We are very likely to see some localized populations of, for instance, salmon going extinct, and some creatures that exist nowhere else in the world, but here in California, will likely disappear.
Dr. Halter, officials conducted the final snowpack survey. I believe, in fact, it was yesterday in the Sierra Nevada area. What's the long-term concern here? I mean, if this drought continues on and the snowpack is non-existent, I mean, this is, I mean, it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, it is. Welcome to a climate crisis. And without water, you know, it also, I got to say it, the trees are the most perfect carbon dioxide warehouses. For every 1 ton of wood, they've sucked out of the air 1.5 tons of carbon dioxide, and they've given us a ton of oxygen. So now, instead of performing what they do, as they begin to decay, they're adding to the pool of rising greenhouse gases. And this comes down to one thing and one thing only. We got to stop subsidizing big oil, big coal, and big gas. You know, at 1.9 trillion worldwide, in our nation, a couple $100 billion per annum. They're up in the Arctic, they're drilling, and we're paying them to kill our planet. What up?